In all the years I've worked with adults over 30, there's one thing I keep hearing over and over. Why are they so indifferent? Why do I keep giving everything while they never give anything back? If you've ever loved someone who avoids emotions, you know exactly what that feels like. They're like a cold wall. You try to reach out, but the harder you try, the more they push you away. And here's the interesting part. It's in the silence that you actually find your own strength again. Today, I want to share a few moments of silence that can shake the ego of an avoidant, not as revenge, but as a way for you to reclaim the peace that was always yours. Imagine this. In your past relationship, you were their mirror. You admired them, praised them, lifted them up whenever they doubted themselves. They looked into you to see the best version of who they were. But then one day you're gone. The mirror disappears. Suddenly they're left face to face with themselves. No reflection, no one to color in their image. Many of my clients have told me that the very moment they stopped admiring their ex was the moment that person started to feel restless, anxious, and desperate to pull them back in. And then there are those moments when you get little messages. A simple, hey, a random like on Facebook, or some meaningless emoji. Those are the crumbs, the tiny breadcrumbs they throw out just to see if you're still hanging around. But instead of jumping to respond, you let it pass. You don't block, you don't delete. You just don't react. And that silence becomes the loudest response of all. Research on attachment behavior shows that when someone is used to getting attention and a reaction, being ignored feels like a sudden drop, a direct hit to their ego. One of my clients, Sarah, did exactly this. After her divorce, her ex kept texting, "Hey, just checking in." In the past, just seeing that message made her heart ache and she'd reply right away. But this time she didn't. She let it sit. She told me that silence not only caught him off guard, but gave her an incredible sense of freedom. For the first time in years, she wasn't being controlled by her knee-jerk reaction. And you know what unsettles them even more? When you start growing quietly. No need to post flashy photos, no cryptic quotes aimed at them. You simply live better. Hitting the gym regularly, picking up a new skill, cooking healthy meals, letting your positive energy shine through naturally. They expect you to break down, to cry, to beg. But instead, you're calm, steady, even more radiant than before. I've seen so many of my clients reach this stage, and they all say the same thing. It's when you stop needing to prove anything to anyone that you finally feel truly happy. Another important step is creating new social boundaries. Avoidants often want to keep you trapped in their small orbit. But when you spend more time with family, friends, or your community, taking a painting class, going on hikes, or simply having dinner with your best friend, you're showing them, I have an entire world that doesn't revolve around you. One male client once told me that just by joining a running group every weekend, he felt re-energized. And the interesting part? His ex suddenly started asking, "Where have you been lately? Why are you always busy?" A clear sign that the ground beneath them was starting to shake. Finally, the moment that rattles their ego the most is when you stay silent even during their crisis. In the past, whenever they felt sad or stressed from work, they'd come to you, and you'd open your arms, be their rock, soothe their pain. But once you've learned the lesson that this is no longer my responsibility, you step back. You let them handle their own storm. Not because you're cruel, but because you finally understand, rescuing them over and over only means losing yourself. And that silence, for them, thunders like a storm inside. Have you ever experienced this? Sitting in silence and realizing you don't need to say a word because silence already says it all? If you nodded yes, then I believe you're entering the most mature stage of your journey of loving and being loved. When I share these insights with my clients, I always emphasize this. Silence is not a power play. It's not about making them suffer. It's about breaking free from the old cycle. When you stop reacting, stop reflecting, and stop carrying someone else's emotions on your shoulders, you finally begin to hear your own inner voice. And that is true freedom. So next time you find yourself holding your phone, tempted to reply to a midnight, "Hey," pause for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself, am I replying because I genuinely want to, or because I'm afraid of losing them? If the answer comes from fear, let silence speak for you instead. You deserve a love that doesn't require begging. A love where you don't have to be a mirror just so someone else can see their worth. You deserve a love where both people grow, share, and lift each other higher. And sometimes the path to that kind of love begins with the powerful silence you choose today. Remember how I said earlier, silence isn't a power game, it's a way of coming back to yourself. And if you truly want to move forward with ease, there are a few other quiet steps, ones that carry just as much weight. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make after a breakup is trying to explain. explaining why they left, why they went silent, why their ex no longer deserved their love. But here's the thing, explanation can become the last thread that keeps you tied to their game. Avoidants thrive on ambiguity, they like holding on to the sense that you're still trying to make them understand. So when you choose to separate your emotions without giving any explanation, that's one of the strongest moves you can make. You close the circle with calmness. No drama, no long speeches, no dramatic goodbye. And in that silence, you're quietly saying, I've already found my ending within myself. I don't need it from you. Picture this. You're standing in a room that once echoed with arguments, tears, the words, why don't you? Or, I wish you would. This time you walk away without a sound. The door closes. And what remains within you is quiet. Believe me, nothing unsettles an avoidant more than realizing they no longer have any control over the story. Now let's talk about memories. Many of my clients admit that even when they've stopped texting or meeting their ex, their minds are still trapped in memories. A song, a cafe, an old shirt, any of these can pull them back. But here's what I want you to try. Instead of pouring your mental energy into memories, channel it into learning, career growth, or pursuing a new hobby. One male client of mine, David, told me he was haunted by replaying every tiny detail of his past relationship. Every time he sat in his apartment, his eyes would fix on the couch where they once watched movies together. But then he decided to learn how to cook. At first, it was just to kill time. Over time, it became a genuine joy. He shared, every time I master a new dish, I feel like I'm creating a fresh memory to replace the old ones. And you know what? After a few months, he realized those old traces had faded, and his ex no longer dominated his mind. Another step, one that may seem small but carries incredible power, is unfollowing and disappearing from social media. I know many people think unfollowing or blocking someone is childish. But the truth is it's not childish at all. It's a conscious decision. I don't want my mind dragged back into the cycle of watching your life anymore. You don't watch their stories, you don't like their posts, you don't peek out of curiosity. And suddenly in their virtual world you're gone. That absence is bigger than you might think. One of my female clients once told me, the first day I didn't check his Facebook, I felt empty. By the 10th day I felt lighter. By the 30th day I didn't care anymore. And the interesting part was, that was exactly when her ex suddenly started reaching out, almost as if he couldn't stand her disappearance. Now, I want you to reflect on yourself in that relationship. Were you the one always chasing, always trying to keep everything from falling apart? But when you stop chasing and find calm instead, you send a powerful message. You're no longer the center of my world. I'm free. And the truth is, nothing scares an avoidant more than realizing you're no longer holding on to them. They lose that invisible power they once had. And here comes what I believe is the most beautiful, and perhaps the most important, step, discovering new sources of joy. I've seen clients turn to yoga, meditation, running, or simply signing up for an art class. They don't do it to prove to their ex, I'm doing better. They do it so they can feel within themselves, my happiness was never dependent on anyone else. When you create new joy, you start radiating a different kind of energy, an energy that shows the world you're no longer tied to that old relationship. One of my clients, Maria, went through a painful breakup. But instead of dwelling on the sadness, she signed up for salsa dancing lessons. Laughing, she told me, I was terribly clumsy. But with every step, I felt alive again. And I stopped thinking about him. That is the true power of creating new joy. You see, all these steps, detaching emotionally, letting go of old memories, disappearing from social media, stopping the chase and finding new joy, none of them are power plays. They're your way of saying to yourself, I choose peace. And if you're hearing these words right now, chances are you're somewhere in the middle of the journey. Part of you still wants to look back, but another part is already longing to move forward. I want you to know this. You are strong enough to keep going. You don't need explanations from your ex. You don't need their validation. You only need one thing, yourself in a new form, more mature, more free. So if you find yourself at this crossroads, let your silence speak. Let the peace within you become your loudest statement. And one day you'll look back on this path and smile, I didn't need them to be happy. Backhand index pointing right. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Which quiet step are you choosing for yourself right now? I'd love to hear your story. And who knows, your words might be the reminder someone out there needs to keep moving forward. You are already strong enough. Believe it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I truly appreciate your presence on this journey of healing and emotional growth. And as a small gift, I'd like to offer you a free ebook on avoidant personality. Inside, I share the most essential insights about this pattern, along with practical steps to help an avoidant learn how to reconnect socially and build healthier relationships. You can find the download link right below in the comments. My hope is that it becomes a companion for you, or for anyone you know who might need understanding and guidance.